Okay, shall we start, Raj?
Yes, you can start.
Fine. Yes. Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. And welcome to this webinar from PLM Nordic about a next Checkmate, how it is integrated with Teamcenter, and how it is used to automate design and validation. So for today, I would be presenting along with Raj. So myself, Angad Sote, I have around 20 years experience on CAD, PLM side. I started my career with Ideas in 2004, Ideas, and it was then Ideas 8. Then NX came into picture. So did some ideas to NX also. So basically conversant with NX from its birth, UGS, and yeah, Siemens developed it as a flagship product now and have been watching and knowing the functionalities, how they are developed. Now it's like a truly digital tool, you can say, and we are going to see some of the functionalities on it. And we have also Raj with us. Raj, you want to say a few words about you?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Angad. So, myself, Raj Kilda. I am a PLM and CAD consultant. I have overall like 9+ years of experience in PLM and CAD. Basically, I'm more specialized into CAD data management and CAD methodology. And my core areas are how to maintain the CAD data quality and CAD standards so that the CAD is being maintained in structure format. Yeah, so this is overview about my experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Raj. Yeah. So about us, we are established in 2018 here in Bergen, Norway, west of Norway. We started also in India in 2020, and we are total around 50 people. We are fully focused on Siemens technology, Teamcenter, NX, Solid Edge, PLM, CAD tools. We are also official reseller in the Nordic region for Siemens softwares, PLM and CAD mostly. We also do services, all types on these, like implementation, customizations, and upgrades and everything. Also, we have built our own products to complement Teamcenter NX tools for good usage. Yeah. And we have been working with different industries and different customers in Europe and Americas region. Yeah, that's about us. So moving on to the agenda today about the checkmate. So we will see some intro about what it is, where does it fits into total scenario and of the digital tools. Then why checkmate, what difficulties, problems it will solve. Then we will see what are its functionalities, and then we will have some demo about seeing checkmate in action with Teamcenter, and we will see about case studies, implementations, and what's new. And in the end, we can have question answers, but you can type in question answers anytime in the Q&A section. Yeah. Right. So about Checkmate, what is it and where does it fit? So NX, as I said, has been developed over many, many years, and it has developed into a full-fledged tool for digitalization and product design. It also includes validation tools, and it has full-fledged functionality, what you need for product design, as well as validation, as well as taking it forward into the next steps. So Checkmate falls into the validation part of it, and we will see how it helps in that section, right? So the goal is like to improve the quality of the CAD design, because nowadays with model-based design, as well as moving away from 2D, lot of emphasis is on the early design stage where you want your design to be more and more, designed for assembly, designed for manufacturing, designed for cost, designed for sustainability. So it's very important that the design meets these criteria, and there is more and more validation requirements for designers to make this happen, right? And Checkmate makes it possible in a very systematic way, and you can see how it can provide a very easy to use tool for the designers to achieve that, right? Also, it provides a lot of room for configurations, making the checks, and it is also very comprehensive. You can make your own checks, you can use out of the box. It's also customizable, and there is also reporting and features which, like graphs or KPIs, managers can use, or even senior engineers can use to see training requirements, what is failing, and all in the early design stage and supporting, yeah, your digital thread. Right. So, going to what are the difficulties or problems Checkmate is addressing, and we can divide them into number of user categories or stakeholders. So, what they are looking at in terms of and why Checkmate and how it is solving. So, top management level is more moving to model-based enterprise. There are obvious very a lot of advantages moving to model based design and making consuming it and making your company into model based enterprise, right? Getting rid of paper drawings, getting rid of 2D drawings, and putting more and more PMIs into model, and that also requires a lot of checking validation, so this helps in achieving that, right? There is also focus on sustainability, carbon footprint, and it says like you take 80% of that is affected in the design stage. So it will be more and more focused to design it right for environment. Obviously, also the cost is an important factor. So we want to reduce the cost also. All these decisions means a lot of checklists, right? And how do we organize that, and how do we achieve that? How do you make it transparent if this is followed or not followed? So these are some of the concerns which are addressed, right? And also achieving the digital thread, meaning having it online, having it connected with your PLM system, backwards into requirements management system, forwards into assembly, production, service, and then connecting it so that it's the data information is flowing and it's not offline and it's not sitting in somewhere in files or folders or like that. So how do we achieve that? That's how also this is an important piece in that puzzle. It's not all, but it is one of the, yeah. Second is like for a manager level, what do I need? I can set up a lot of checklists, but how do I ensure it is followed? How do I see the transparency of the results and inputs from various departments? How do I make it transparent that we have incorporated? Sometimes it's a common complain that, okay, have you done this, have you checked this is tolerances are fine according to our machines, have you checked the cost picture, have you selected the right material? And then if you just say yes, 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 it's not enough. So this provides some kind of result based, proof based, that yeah, you can see we have the results here, checkmate results here, we have done these checks, and this is our design process. And yeah, although we can do it manually in Excels or spreadsheets or different other documents, but having it in the system, making it into the system when all the users or other users in the company can access it, it makes it more available and accessible. Also setting up standards as per the industry norms and compliances so that nothing is forgotten. So nothing is going forward without these checks. So this is also very important for manager. Collaboration problems, again, yeah, different departments and they're working in silos. So how do you connect them together? This also in terms of, for example, requirements coming from customers or requirements coming from different departments also can be tied up to the checking and also forward and into the production. If you face conformances or if you face problems on fields, you can take it back into the checks. So it will ensure more and more data flow and yeah, collaboration between different departments, right? Hmm. And on a user level, so what do I gain on the user level? So I get rid of a lot of manual stuff, manual checklist. I make it transparent. I get one click solution to check my results. I don't have to remember this and that. I don't have to go and ask too many people. So it is more capturing the knowledge, capturing the design process, capturing the standards within your design environment. I don't have to leave Annex. I don't want to go to Teamcenter. I can do everything from Annex. I can even release parts, but also I can connect it together, the issues. I can connect it to backwards requirements. So this is more, that's what we were talking. Annex world is something which you can expand, right? And I don't need a lot of rework telling me that this after release or after going forward, I forgotten this. I should have taken this tolerance or changed this or should not use this material or I should have filled this or that. So this is again saving a lot of time because there is a time lag when these things happen and you have to go back, open it. It's very easy when you are working on it, right? So when you are working on it, you are live with it, the information. After delivery, after 10 days, 15 days, you have moved on to a different part design or something, and then going back, remembering everything, all the details would be difficult. So that's what I'm saying. It's early stage and you are saying, tell me everything what I need to do in my design process, and that will help, speed up and yeah, avoid the rework. Yeah. So this is what Checkmate is handling. Next is what is it, right? It's a set of checks, validation checks, and we can choose, we can apply, and we can configure and we can run the results and we can show the results, be transparent about it, and we can also do some actions based on the results and we can expand. It's not just checking, but then you can expand taking some actions. For example, healing the geometry or taking actions on certain things which the checkmate gives you. So there are possibilities further ahead. Yeah. So the checks also kind of on a different level. So it can be on a part file level where it checks the content, the structure, you know, it can also be on a geometrical level about the qualities, discrepancies. It can be about the documentation, the PMIs, the labeling, the text. Also, it can be regarding the other standards, VDA and any standards like that. So there can be different types of checks you can incorporate. Again, you can put your own and you can scope it as you want, right? So then we move forward about like the key features in terms of visibility. So there is a validation manager, there is checks, and you can see there is also data flowing into Teamcenter integration. The results can be visible in Teamcenter. You don't need just to open annex, let's say the downstream users. Yeah. Also, there is visual reporting. We will see in the demo also how the reporting also works Also, collaboration tools like different departments also can access the results, can also participate in the process. They can also give feedbacks and yeah, into the requirements, into the checks. And of course, we can use the results for analysis, and it can form basic, very basis for your training needs, for example, or change management, for example. Something is very difficult to achieve and we are again and again and again failing on that thing, and we want, okay, some concessions on that thing. So that comes into analyzing the results and taking some actions on that. Yeah. So let's see a quick demo of Checkmate in action. And so we will show a basic functionality, how it works, and how the Checkmate works, maybe, and then we will discuss further. Right. So I will give it to Raj. He will explain the video. Yeah. Over to you, Raj.
Yeah, thanks, Angad. So over here, you can see people that in Teamcenter, we are trying to open the part in NX now. So in attachments, you can see the UG master of that file. And now we are checking out so that we can modify the part. And once the part has been checked out, what we are doing, we are going into HD3D tools and clicking on the checkmate button. And now we are going to set up the test. Angad, can you please pause the video?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. So now you can see that in test, we have the different categories available into the test already, which are predefined into NX. So these are OOTB checkers. And even we can create our own checkers, which are required as per the organizational standards. So over here, what we are going to do is basically like we have selected some OTB checkers such as which is material assigned or how many features are there, whether there is any wavelength status available or blends are there or not, and if there is any attributes present or not. Yeah, Angad, can you just play for the? Yeah. Pause it, please. Yeah, in run options, you can see there are different options available, like whether you want to save the part after checking and whether you want to save the results. Even you can publish the results into your quality dashboards and you can generate the log file for the particular part on which the checkmate has been performed. Yes, Angad. Can you just,
Mhm. Yeah.
and over here, now we are executing the checkmate. So you can see there are two cross marks, which indicates that the checker has been failed. You can see that analyze pocket and check blend chamfering references have been failed over here. And now what we are doing is we are checking in the part and saving it into the Teamcenter. Now switching the module to the Teamcenter, you can see in attachments, basically the validation summary reports. Okay, so these are the results which we have found into the NX itself. So you can see over here which results have got passed and which have got failed. Okay, now what engineer is trying to do is even the results have got failed, he will try to submit it to workflow. So to submit to workflow, what he will do is he will go to manage tool. He will go to submit to workflow. He will select the appropriate workflow to which it needs to be released. Over here, he will release to pre-production release and he will submit the workflow. So now you will see it has got an error validation compound result failed. Why? Because the result have got failed on the checkmate task. So there are certain conditions which has been applied. So consider the condition like when you have the checkers which have been failed and still design engineer is trying to submit to the workflow. Yes, so it should not go to the workflow and start it. The second condition, what it comes is when the design engineer has not run the checkmate and he is trying to submit the workflow. Um, so over there also, it will not get submitted to workflow because there is no presence of the checkmate result. So which indicates that the checkmate has not been run. And third condition, what we can check is when designer has performed the checkmate, but he is trying He then modified the design and saved the part. As the checkmate results were not latest or not up to date, and then he's trying to submit to workflow, then also it shows the failure as the results were not updated. So we can have some conditional workflows and all over here. So this
Yeah,
is how we can go further. So it should eventually meet the organizational CAD standards to get into first position to submit into the workflow. Yes, Sangat.
yeah. Thanks, Raj. So all we are saying is are the options. How do you want your workload to be, right? So it could be you want to stop it. It could be you don't want to at all start the workflow if checkmate is not run. So you can only pass it when it is run. Even if checkmate is run, somebody has all updated the geometry again, so you can demand that yes, still it fails, even it was passed earlier, but somebody modified it. So it's all depends on your workflow, right? So let's move on to the next slide, which is the display part, how we can see the results, dashboards. Yeah. And again, Raj will take us to the video.
Mhm. So over here, what we are going to see as we are running the checkmate, so we should have some at admin side, we should have some track records that how the checkmate has been performed, how the users are using it, and what skills they are lacking for the training and purpose. So this is basically handled by the CAD admin side. Over here, you can see that there are summary bar on how much parts the checker has been performed. Then you can have specific username, what are who is the user, and you want to check the part summary, basically like how many parts have been passed and how many have got failed. You get the even the part summary table showcasing for each and every detailed part how many total runs were been performed and what is the status accordingly. And below that, you can even check for the failed part. If you select, you can see what particular result it has got failed regarding the checker. So it cues into the minute detail that how the checkmate was been performed. Even you can see for the particular checker summary that suppose if I'm checking for early chamfer age blend, so I can see that how many part got passed and how many got failed for that particular result. And even I can go and deep down into it. So this is how you can have your own like display board. So this is the predefined one, and even you can create your own like organizational requirements. Basically, over here we can showcase like an example how to create one of the charts basically of a summary result, and we are giving the name as checker bar chart over here. So you can see the bar chart has got allotted. And if you want tabular format, so you can see the list how the tables have been generated over here. So you can have this indicates that basically if any user requires particular training, or even you can check where is the lack of quality issues are present. So to admit that particular thing, you can track this particular you can analyze this particular results and provide the training to the users so that the productivity and the efficiency of the organization can increase according to the standards, CAD standards. Yes, Angat.
Right. And one use case or usage of the quality dashboard is for training needs. As I mentioned earlier, we can have some analytics to see, okay, are our checks too stringent? So if then one particular check is failing again and again, and my users, designers spending a lot of time to rectify it, I can think about more training on it or think about more concession on it. So basically we are trying to optimize the design time. So a change of something can trigger more efficient design time. So these things can help even with the new designers. We can see the learning curve, so where it is failing a lot. basically that information can be collected. And there are other more analytics you can think about on the data collected. Yeah. Right. So moving on, how do we go about it? We have seen what is it, what are the functionalities. We will see more about the possibilities, but about the implementation, then it's more like any implementation. You have to be clear with what are the goals and objectives you want to achieve, what changes, what is the readiness for my organization. I need some plan, and then I need some training and education. I should not be going big bang. I have to do some pilot project and then take the learnings again, do some configuration on a small case, use case level, and get others involved, get the feedbacks, you know, and implement on a limited scale on production, validate it, then iterate it, then expand it. So that's a usual continuous process, right? And doing that, we have to have, good project management, good communication. Right? We have to see the data's integrity and the flow coming from Teamcenter or other systems, right? And we need to continuously review and improve it. Yeah. Moving on to the practical use cases. So this is one of our customers having a product as a sports car, and it's highly 3D printed, I would say. So we have been helping them with the Checkmate validations. So earlier they had a lot of checks in the Teamcenter workflow in terms of also spreadsheets, as a lot of checks designers have to go. And then idea was to bring it into the NX tool, what designers are using. So a lot of checkers introduced, some are customized, and you want to talk more about it, Raj? You are on mute.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, so over here as customer was having lot of checks at a CAD level as well as on the attribute level, so it was becoming much more difficult to handle and to check manually all the things, which was delaying the release process. So what we suggested them to implement the Checkmate using the Teamcenter and NX, and where we developed a single click solution or a customized button where we had like more than 25 plus checkers. Over here we have displayed few of them, and these were all the conditional checkers. It was not like a straightforward. So we needed to design the conditional checker, like if the item type was of different, then its checklist was different. If item type was assembly, then the checklist was different. If the it was a drawing, then the checklist is different. So there were a lot of checkers involved in it, and we needed to provide them the single click solution to reduce the time. And even like they wanted to go for the uh, batch parts to run the checkmate, so we have provided over there. So these were the different checkers which we have done. Like material over here indicates basically whether the part has got material assigned material or not, then whether it was make by or whether it was a purchased item, then whether it is an end item, whether they had the machine required or not, whether this part was a raw part or it was involved in assembly. We needed to check in drawing basically whether the mass was being populated inside the drawing or not. If it is entered manually, then it should be populated directly from the NX itself after the material has been assigned. Then even like whether the wavelength status have been present or not, because it is not recommended to have wavelength when we are uh, releasing any of the parts into it. Then also we checked whether there are any interferences present inside assemblies or not. Like we also checked whether they are running the interference clearance analysis or not, and if they are performing the clearance analysis, then if any test is getting failed, or if anyone is getting like hard touch, or even it is getting interference, so that test should get failed. So these are few of them which we have mentioned over here, and there were more of OTB checkers also available into this particular checklist. Yes,
And we
so
keep adding and
yeah,
enhancing, as we said, keep expanding the scope and uh, putting more and more automations also, not just checking part, then
yeah,
also healing part or the actions after the checks. Some can be automated, right?
yeah. And even like we are implementing over here in a phase manner. Basically, it's not one go live, basically, so that the designers get acquainted to this particular checkers, and it should not be trouble to designers also, because we also consider like when designer something new comes to the designer, so he gets like some kind times gets uh, confused like how it works or how it needs to be done. So we provide them the training support and implement few checkers at initial moment, make them habituated to it. Then we go with another batch of checkers involved in it, so that it is a very smooth process for designer to get followed, and organization also likes in that particular way. Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Raj.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what we are covering here is okay, checkmate is one functionality in validation, but it's, as I said, it's an important piece and into integrating the digital thread, right? So it can help in other areas and you can expand it, link it together with your requirements, for example, module, your simulation validation, your PMI advisories to make your MBD successful. Again, you can have the issues management. You can create issues or log issues from NX using the checkmate, fail pass criteria. So all that is more expanding left and right. And as I said, there is also like checkmate gives you a lot of room to configure out of the box, and let's say 70-80% of your checking can be done out of the box. 20% you may have to do NX open or some coding or programming if you have very very special requirements, and that will okay do your checking. Then next part would be healing part. Again, out of the box healing you can use 50%, 60%. Then again you can have some NX Open help to customize it to make 100% what you want, the actions for them. Again, you need something to tie them together to make a single click for the user. So it invokes checkmate, also hails, and also does some actions. So the workflow can be very big actually, and it could be not just checking validation, but also further actions, right? Anything you want to add on this, Raj?
Yeah. Thanks, Angad. So basically, like Angad suggested, that we can align it to the further scope. It should not be restricted till checkmate till the validations. So what we can do is we get the requirements from the different departments, or even we can have requirement driven validations where we can validate whether it is meeting requirement or not. So sometimes there are issues arising to it that we can't fulfill the requirement, so we can directly raise ECR, ECN kind of thing once the checker has failed. So we can raise an issue from that particular thing. And also what we can do is we can have simulation validation. So simulation validation, what does it means is like whether the molded part is having correct draft angles, or whether the geometry has been correctly examined or not, whether it is having the correct bounding box or not. And PMI advisory, why I have mentioned especially over here is basically as the technology is getting more shifted or more driven towards the model based definition, which is like we can say 3D drawings. So in which the model is the main object on which the tolerances have been applied. So we need to validate that particular things. So which can be done through the PMI advisory tool, and it can help us a lot to validate the things automatically. And as Angad said correctly, that we can have some functions which can help users or designers to get auto heal, and so that they cannot, uh, which would not impact on their efficiency and productivity.
Yes,
Yes,
thanks, Raj. So that's all from our side. So we are open for any questions. If you have, type in the Q&A section. So we already have a question.
one
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Akshay has asked us. Yes, good evening, Akshay. Do we need to add the parts item IDs in the chart, or it takes on which the check test has run? So Akshay, basically when we publish these results, so we can have the different charts. It doesn't require item IDs or part IDs. You can filter it out through username, or even if you want to figure out through the groups, you can do through it. And if you want to look at particular item ID, you can have that particular thing. So it completely depends on how you want to create a chart or thing. I hope this answers your question.
Okay. Yeah. We have one more
One more question.
question.
Is it
Yes.
from Marcin we have? So is it possible to create Checkmate test profile using NX Open after the introduction of NX Open only checks, no knowledge feature? Yes, we can create Checkmate test profiles using the NX Open, because as we have done for one of our clients also, using NX Open, creating the Checkmate test profiles and creating the conditional checkers through it. So it
One
is
more
possible.
question was like this is again a repeat of realized life, so I can take few of the questions about the licenses. Was there what license or do I need Mac 3 only for that? So there is Checkmate author and Checkmate executor or consumer, you can say. So there are two types. So Checkmate author is required for you to set up the test, configure, etc., etc. So that's add-on license separate. And Mac 2 onwards, Mac 2, Mac 3, then you have the execution license or consumer license or designer can use it. So if you have Mac 2, Mac 3, you can run the test. If you want to design the test, you need one at least, yeah, the author license. Right.
We have one more question from Marcin. Do you recommend a best practice regarding multiple NX open checks? Do you implement them in a single DLL or one DLL per check? So the practice which we follow, like is like creating a single checker per DLL. Why? As it can change the conditions as per the organization. So it is always good to have each checker a different DLL, and then we can organize or create the conditions as required. I hope this answers your question.
Right. Think there are no more questions. And then I would say if you have any questions further, you can always contact us and
There
email
is
us. There
one
is one
more
more.
question. Yeah.
Okay,
Is
go
it
ahead.
possible to call knowledge fusion methods from NX Open? I prefer using NX Open in general, but I must admit that there are some useful functions that are not there in NX Open API. So what we suggest is to use either one of them. Either use Knowledge Fusion or NX Open. Do not combine both of them, because both of them are having its own functionalities or specialities.
Okay, but if you are missing something in Annex
Yeah,
Open,
yeah.
then can you call Knowledge Fusion? And yeah, you can take it to our developers maybe, and if, right. So.
Mhm.
confirm it. I guess it is
Yeah,
possible. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. It can be done basically. We can call it.
Yes. Okay. Fine then. I guess that was the last one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say thanks a lot. Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks Raj for contributing. And thank you. Have a nice day, evening. Bye
Yeah,
bye. Good night.
yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.